The forge chamber of the Galactic Academy roared like a caged star. Rows of alien cadets stood behind their assigned workstations, surrounded by hovering drones and precision tools. "Cadets," Instructor Varel announced, his four eyes gleaming, "you are to forge a blade. A weapon, something that could save your life." A ripple of excitement moved through the class. Blades across the galaxy were marvels of science. Monomolecular edges, plasma filaments, gravity balance hilts. A Tarlith student heated a crystalline alloy that could phase through armor. Even the quiet Drish child carefully assembled a vibro-edged dagger with surgical precision. At the far end of the chamber stood the only human in the class. Myra Halden. No rare metals, no high-tech schematics. Just a small container marked raw materials only. Varel had insisted on it. Humans are famous for improvisation. Today, we will see if that reputation is deserved. Myra opened the container. Inside was a length of animal bone. Dense, pale, rough along one side. A few cadets snickered. She has been given leftovers. Perhaps she will make a spoon. Myra didn't respond. She lifted the bone, weighing it in her hand. It was heavier than it looked, solid, no cracks. She smiled faintly. Back on Earth, before humanity had fusion drives, they had survived ice ages with tools made from stone and bone. Metal was a luxury. Survival was not. She ignored the advanced forge entirely. Instead, she requested a manual rasp, a grinding wheel, a simple sharpening stone. Varel tilted his head. Intrigued, "You will not use the plasma forge?" "No, Instructor," Myra replied calmly, "I won't need it." The chamber filled with the hiss of molten alloys and the hum of energy fields. Sparks flew like tiny meteors. Myra sat and began to file, scrape, shape. The sound was different from the others. No roaring flame, no plasma hiss. Just the steady rasp of bone against metal. Hours passed. The Kethri finished first a gleaming, curved blade that shimmered with an energized edge. It cut through a test block of combat polymer without resistance. Applause. The Tarlith presented a crystalline saber that vibrated at ultrasonic frequencies. It sliced through layered armor plating in a single, elegant motion. More applause. One by one, cadets demonstrated weapons that represented the pinnacle of galactic metallurgy. Finally, only Myra remained. She stood, holding what looked like a crude dagger. It was matte white, about the length of her forearm. One edge honed thin and sharp, the other left thick for grip. Varel examined it. No energy field, no molecular enhancement, no reinforcement lattice. "No, Instructor." A murmur of amusement spread through the room. Varel gestured toward the testing platform. "Very well, demonstrate." The standard test. 3 materials: combat polymer, reactive alloy, and adaptive bioarmor. The first 2 cadets had used cutting force to slice through the first 2 materials. Myra approached the polymer block. She didn't swing wildly, she stabbed. The bone blade punched into the polymer with a dull thud, then slid deeper with surprising ease. She twisted. The block split. The room quieted. Varel's upper eyes narrowed. Again, she moved to the reactive alloy. This time, she did not attempt to slice through it directly. She struck at the seam where 2 plates met. The bone tip wedged into the microscopic gap. She leveraged her weight, twisting sharply. A crack echoed. The alloy plate fractured along its stress line and split apart. Several cadets stiffened. Varel's voice lowered. Final test. The adaptive bioarmor was designed to harden when struck with high-speed kinetic force or energy. Myra approached slowly. She did not swing. She did not stab. She dragged the blade lightly across the surface. The armor did not react. No sudden impact. No energy spike. Just pressure. The honed bone edge bit into the tissue before the armor registered threat parameters. She pushed steadily. The blade sank in. Only then did the bioarmor begin to harden, but too late. The cut had already opened deep. The chamber was silent. Varel stepped forward. "How?" Myra wiped the blade clean with a cloth. "Your weapons are designed to overpower," she said evenly. Mine is designed to outthink. She tapped the bone lightly. Bone isn't just primitive material. It's flexible. It absorbs shock instead of transferring it. It doesn't create the energy signatures your defensive materials are calibrated to detect. It doesn't shatter easily under torsion. She looked around the chamber. And it's quiet. The Kethri cadet frowned. It would fail against heavy armor. Myra shrugged slightly. So would yours, eventually. No weapon is universal. But this? She balanced the dagger in her hand. This doesn't rely on power cells. It can't be hacked. It doesn't emit radiation. And if I lose it... She glanced at the original container. I make another. A long pause followed. Varel picked up the bone blade. He ran one talon carefully along its edge. A thin line of silver blood beaded where it touched. His eyes widened just slightly. Instructor, a cadet asked softly. Varel turned to the class. Most of you forged weapons suited for battlefield dominance. Weapons dependent on infrastructure, supply chains, advanced fabrication. He lifted the bone dagger. This human forged a weapon suited for collapse. He met Myra's gaze. Where did you learn this? She hesitated only a moment. History class. A faint smile touched her lips. On Earth, our ancestors survived with less than this. We hunted megafauna. We defended caves. We crossed frozen continents. She looked at the glowing plasma blades surrounding her. Metal is impressive, but survival doesn't start with metal. Varel slowly nodded. He turned to the class. Cadets, today's lesson was not metallurgy. He placed the bone blade at the center of the chamber. It was adaptability. The quiet student raised a trembling limb. Instructor, if technology failed, if supply lines were cut. Varel's voice carried through the chamber like distant thunder. Then I would hope there is a human beside you. The earlier laughter was gone. The Kethri cadet approached Myra cautiously. You shaped that from refuse, he said. Without energy tools. Yes, and you trust it. Myra slid the bone dagger into a sheath at her belt. With my life. The forge suns dimmed as the session ended. Cadets filed out more quietly than they had entered. Several glanced back at the simple white blade resting against Myra's hip. Not gleaming, not humming, not glowing, just sharp. As Varel recorded the day's evaluations, he added a final note beneath Myra Holden's name. Humanity's strength does not lie in superior weapons. It lies in their ability to fight with whatever remains. And in a galaxy built on advanced systems, that realization unsettled him far more than any plasma blade ever could.